Cinema Steven here, and this is your review of A24's The Iron Claw. This is the newest film by director Sean Durkin, who also directed Martha May Marlene. I always remembered it when it came out, but I can't remember it now. It's the one with Elizabeth Olsen and the cult. That's a great movie, by the way. You should go check it out. But The Iron Claw is a true story about the Von Erich wrestling family that was popular in the late 70s and early 80s in North Texas. They dominated the wrestling scene back then. And, nowadays people know WWE and maybe AEW. They're the two biggest promotions out there, especially WWE. They're both global brands and they monopolized all of these territories. But back in the day, it was like spread out all across the country. So everybody had a piece of the action, whether it was in the South, the Midwest, the North, the Northeast, like whatever. So the Von Erichs were the kings of Texas, basically, in the world championship wrestling circuit, the world-class championship wrestling circuit. So this movie explores that family and the tragedy that fell upon them. If you saw this movie and thought, man, they just really over dramatized these situations and what happened to these boys for the sake of the movie, but they didn't. I mean, this is a true story, and how it happened was pretty accurate. And I think that it was kind of odd that there was actually a fifth Von Erich brother, Chris, the baby, who wasn't even in the movie at all. And so I had to do some research to see why that was the case. And director Sean Durkin said that he said it was just too much. It's too much tragedy, too much trauma. It's so much to do. And if we added the brother in there, the baby, it just wouldn't have made, it just would have been too much, which I still kind of think was disrespectful to the family name, but that's okay. And I grew up a wrestling fan. So had I not known about this story, I wouldn't have believed it either. But the funny thing is that it's trending on TikTok for people going in to see it blindly. Like, they don't know what it's about. They don't know what's going to happen. And they come out and they're in tears. It's devastating. And yes, it's really sad. And if I didn't know this story, I would be a slobbering slob fest coming out of it too, because man, it is really sad. And I wanted to give a shout out to Zac Efron. I can't even talk. I want to give out a shout out to Zac Efron, who just completely transformed his body for this movie. I mean, he is jacked to the gills. Like, he looks like he could go out on WWE Monday Night Raw and win the championship. He is so buff. He's not as buff as I am, just to clarify things, but man, just a major transformation in this character. And I've never seen Zac Efron in a role like this before. I've never seen him act so well, and I think that's really opening up the doors to his potential here. And I mean, if he wants to go back and do High School Musical again, I don't give a shit. That's fine too. But I just want to say that he's got a future in his dramatic turn of events here. But again, The Iron Claw is a absolute masterpiece of a film. It's one of the best movies of 2023. I highly recommend you watch it. And even if you're not a wrestling fan, it doesn't matter. It's just about the family. It's about the community. It's about everything. It's kind of like me saying that Friday Night Lights isn't about football. It's not. It's about the family, the friends, the community, all that stuff. It's about the characters, not so much the sport. The sport is, but how they film the movie is great too. It doesn't look like, I don't know, some kind of weird mainstream thing. It's like very artistic how it's done, and it looks really, really great. So I highly recommend you see The Iron Claw.